So I also
So in June I read 6 books. I have So in June I read and in terms of genre, I read 1 science fiction. In terms of genre, I read 1 science fiction, 1 contemporary, 1 something else. I thought it sounded like a wonderful concept, but it just fell flat. I thought that the plot 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. Again, another disappointing book. So I gave this book 2 stars. Now, normally I absolutely love Leanne Moriarty's writing. I read Big Little Lies and that was a definite 5-star read for me. And I also read something else, The Husband's Secret. This is contemporary fiction. This is contemporary fiction and it's the 3rd book I read this month was The Lost Man by Jane, no, it's last month, wasn't it? I really enjoy Jane Harper's writing style. It is so atmospheric. The way she describes this remote part of outback Australia, Australian outback, isn't it? Not outback, Australia. Each of the characters are complex and nuanced and The 4th book I read in June was The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I absolutely love this book too. I gave it 4 stars. It's a psychological. Overall, Lucinda Berry manages to paint a very So the 6th and 6th. I would say I absolutely loved these 3 and I would definitely recommend it. The book I'm planning to read in the month of October is I'll Never Tell by Catherine Mackenzie. So this is another mystery thriller and I think it has a really interesting premise again. So 20 years ago, a woman was found bludgeoned to death in a and I can't say that word. So the final book is I'll Never Tell by Catherine Mackenzie. So this is another mystery thriller and again it has a really interesting premise, I think. So 20 years ago a woman was bludgeoned to death in a rowboat. Now there is just one tiny little Dr. Lucinda Berry is a trauma psychologist and she is a leading researcher in childhood trauma. So I think that experience really adds a lot of weight and a lot of depth. Lucinda Berry weaves the narrative in a way that makes it a very Lucinda Berry weaves the narrative in a way that makes it Lucinda Berry weaves. So I first heard about this book from Alice over at the Book Castle, who I will link down below so you can go and check her out. I think she's absolutely great. She's got some great book recommend. Oh dear. So the 3rd roll. 6 years later, Alicia is living in a secure psychiatric 6 years later, Alicia is living in a secure psychiatric hospital for criminals. Now, this is a Japanese book. It was published in Japan 15 years ago and then it was translated into English. But at the time of the tragedy, there was a prime suspect. So I'll start by saying that I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's a mystery set in Australia. I also really like the title of the Lost Man. Throughout the story, in the back of my mind, I was wondering, who is the lost man? So at first, it seems obvious that the lost man is Cameron, the brother. I also really enjoy her writing style. The way she describes this. Each of the characters is complex and nuanced and fully developed. The story starts with Nathan.